It's the final week of the regular season and section play at WPIAL basketball. Playoff spots are on the line every night this week, and we are here to tell you who the number one seed should be for the playoffs. Welcome to another edition of the Varsity Xtra podcast here on the Post-Gazette Sports YouTube Network. I'm Mike White of the Post-Gazette, along with high school sports coordinator, my colleague, Keith Barnes of the Post-Gazette. And believe it or not, WPIAL regular season section play has to be completed by Saturday. A number of playoff spots on the line this week, section championships on the line this week, and a lot of good stuff on the boys and girls side. And incidentally, just some information, all teams must conclude section play by Saturday. Now, the WPIAL basketball committee will not have their final meeting and will not come out with playoff pairings until Monday. Now, there will be non-section games also that Monday night, but they will be meaningless as far as pairings and seedings. The pairings and seedings come out next Monday, February the 9th. So what we're going to do, Keith, in our first segment here on the Varsity Xtra podcast, right? We're going to say, now these could change, who should be the number one seeds and boys and girls as of right now, as of Monday afternoon. Let's start with girls. All right, 6A, who do you got?
6A girls. That might be one of the toughest calls out there because, well, like I said, we're doing this Monday morning. So Catholic-Knoch and Norwin are playing tonight. So the winner of that game could legitimately be the number one. Exactly. I think it's going to be one of those two teams. No, we've had both teams number one right during the year. It's really tough because 6A is not that strong. And if you look at Section 1 where you have Seneca Valley, they're definitely not a number one seed. I think it's going to go between Catholic-Knoch and Norwin. Catholic-Knoch won the first game against Norwin. If they win tonight, I think they're the number one seed for sure. But I think they're the number one seed anyway. I really do. I think Catholic-Knoch is number one.
Well, I think the winner of that game might be number one. I think you can make a small point for Seneca Valley. They're going to win the section again. But here's the thing with them. They lost to Upper St. Clair by 15 points earlier in the year in that other section. So, and Upper St. Clair is going to finish no higher than, I think, third.
They can't think it's higher than third.
Yeah, so you can't give them the number one seed. So I'll go with the winner of Catholic-Knoch and Norwin. Okay, 5A. Do we even have to discuss this? South Fayette, they've crushed everybody.
Are you sure South Fayette?
Yeah, an average of, what is it? Average of near 40 points a game against WPIAL.
That team's amazing. I was talking against Norwin a few weeks ago and ran a running clock against a 6A team and not on their best shooting game. So this team's just that good. If
they continue this in the playoffs, and that's a big thing, they're going to go down as one of the best teams in WPIAL history. If they do this, if they keep crushing teams, and they have the potential to do that. All right, 4A. Who do you got? Blackhawk or Oakland Catholic?
I've seen Oakland Catholic twice this year. I have not seen Blackhawk, but Blackhawk doesn't play in as strong of a conference or as strong of a section. And Oakland Catholic beat North Catholic up twice, and North Catholic's a good team. And there's no two ways about it. I mean, Molly Rotman always has them playing well. They've got a couple of really good players with Weir but Oakland Catholic with Josie Fontana, she kind of just has that team kind of where they need to be. And I like Oakland Catholic as the number one seed. I really do. Even though Blackhawks Blackhawk.
It's a tough call. I mean, Oakland Catholic's two losses are against Berlin Brothers Valley, who's a very good team in Pennsylvania, and also a team from out of state. They beat Shady Side Academy twice, who's a really good team. Yeah. On the other hand, Blackhawk did beat Catholic-Knoch, who's a pretty good team. They beat Pine-Richland. They beat Neshannock, the number one team. So they played a few good games out of section. You know what? I tend to agree with you. They have Aubrey Hop.
Yeah.
Josie
Fontana. I mean, that's going to be a nice matchup at some point, probably.
I don't think in some of these games, in this one, it doesn't really matter. And you get one or two. So if things go according to what they should, the number 2 team would play the number 7 team in the quarterfinals, and then they would play the number 3 team in the semis. Number 1 would play number 4. Is there that big of a difference? I don't know. So I'm going to go with Oakland Catholic.
That's why you go. That's why I would go with Oakland Catholic as the 1, because your 3 is going to end up probably being North Catholic. And do you want to see Oakland Catholic, North Catholic play in the semifinals? Not
Right.
sure. That's why. That's one of the reasons why I would put Blackhawk in the 2 slot.
I'm going to go Oakland Catholic also. 3A, it has to be what? Shady Side or Greensburg, right?
And
Now, Shady Side beat Greensburg, but they play again tonight. Who do you have?
It's on Shady Side Academy's home floor. They're a tough team at home. I'm going to go Shady Side Academy as the number 1 seed. I think that's who it's going to be. I think they're going to beat Greensburg Central Catholic again. And this team, they can play 4 times this year. And if they play 2 more times in the WPIAL playoffs and the state playoffs, who knows who could win. But I'm going to give it to Shady Side Academy this time around.
I agree, unless Greensburg beats Shady Side and beats them handily at Shady Side, which I don't think is going to happen. All right, 2A, is there any doubt?
No, Neshannock.
Agree. 1A. 2 teams.
Aquinas Academy.
What about Geibel?
I like Aquinas Academy. I really do. I like what they've done defensively. I know Geibel hung 100 on Mapletown last week, but
really impressed by that.
I've seen Mapletown play. I've seen Geibel play. I saw them play against Sarah Catholic. They're a really good team. They are. But Aquinas has been there 3 straight years. They've been to the finals. This is a team that might be due this year. Tess Dewar's playing really well for this team. And I think they're a little more battle tested than Geibel is. I really do. I think they played a little bit of a tougher schedule. So I would give Aquinas the leg up on the number 1 seed. I
agree with you. I go Aquinas also. All right, let's move on. Let's go to boys, right? The bell. Who is the boys? Who are the boys number 1 seed? Let's start in 6A.
Yeah.
This is really tough. I think my opinion is, it's Newcastle, Upper St. Clair, Central Catholic, without a doubt.
Yes.
My opinion is, if I had to pick right now, but I think it's going to be determined by what happens this last week. And if they might all win, but if a couple of them struggle to win, that might change things. I would say it should be Upper St. Clair or Newcastle. Central has 2 losses. One of them was to Moon. Upper St. Clair has only lost to Central in overtime, and then they beat Central. Newcastle's only loss was to Pine-Richland last Friday. I'm going to say right now, and this is my reason, and this could definitely change. I'd give it to Upper St. Clair. And not because they're the defending champion, just because Newcastle lately, I don't want to say they struggled, but they lost. They against Seneca Valley at home. It was like a 3-4 point game with a couple minutes left. Pine-Richland gave them a good game at Newcastle. They lose Friday. Upper St. Clair hasn't had those many close games except Central, which is a really good team. And Pine is really coming on, by the way. So because of that, you know what? If they all played right now, I don't know who I'd pick. Just because of Newcastle's what they've done lately, I think I'd pick St. Clair.
I think before Friday night, Newcastle was the number 1 seed.
Without a doubt.
I think they played themselves out of the number 1 seed when they lost to Pine-Richland on Friday night. You're right. They struggled with Pine-Richland the first time around. They've eked out an overtime game. They had a tough game against Cannon Mac. They have not been blowing teams out as good as a team as that is.
They had a tough game with Woodland Hills when they had Steve Smith. So
I think Woodland Hills is one that took them overtime, correct?
Yeah. Right. Now that section Newcastle's in is stronger, top to bottom.
Yes.
At the top, the other section is really good, is comparable, but there's a couple teams in that other section, the South, that are gimme wins.
That section's a mess. Let's put it that way.
The section with the north section's the one that's a mess. I mean,
the north one is a mess. That's what I was saying. But yeah, I'd go with you. I'd say with Upper St. Clair would be the number 1 seed as a defending champion, as a team that's playing very well right now, that's kind of peaking at the right time. I would go with them. And Newcastle's not peaking at the right time, so we'll see what happens. But I'd say Upper St. Clair.
All right, let's go on to 5A. Is there any debate?
No.
Chartiers Valley.
It's probably Char Valley. It has to be. After they beat Lincoln Park twice. I thought Lincoln Park would give them a better fight than they did last week. They did not. Char Valley's just a better team. They're the number 1 seed going in.
They have a loss to Fox Chapel and they have a loss to Moon, but Moon has 3 losses in section. I don't see how you don't give it to Chartiers Valley. Okay, 4A. Is it the winner of Knoch and North Catholic Or even if North Catholic wins, do you still give it the Knoch? Or what about Quaker Valley?
I don't give it to Quaker Valley. I think they're the 2 or the 3, depending on how you go with that. I think it would be the winner of Friday's game between North Catholic, or I'm sorry, Tuesday's game between North Catholic and Knoch. Knoch has a tough loss this past week coming up, and we'll analyze that game later. But I think it's going to be. I think North Catholic's the number 1 seed if they win that game. If not win that game, they're the number 1 seed.
Wait, if North Catholic wins, they're the number 1 seed?
Yes.
I think it depends on if they win by how much. I mean, Knoch beat North Catholic 65-56 the first time. So, and Knox played a really good Obama team. They lost to him. North Catholic's played a really good schedule also, but I don't know. You're talking Knoch is 16-3, North is 14-4. I think if Knoch even loses, unless they lose by 12 to 15, I think I might make them number 1 still. But the committee, a lot of times lately, as we go, what have you done for me lately? So they won the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But right now, I'd go Knoch, unless they get blown out by North Catholic. All right, 4A. No, we did 4A. 3A. 3A. It has to be who? Mohawk or Aliquippa, right?
Yeah, I would say. And that's going to come down to who wins that game tomorrow night. And, Mohawks, I think it's Mohawk either way. I really do. I think Mohawks played a tougher schedule. They've won 17 in a row. I mean,
wait a second. Wait. Aliquippa's played a tough schedule.
Yeah.
They played a really tough schedule. They just played Sewickley Academy. They played Lincoln Park. They played a tougher schedule than Mohawk.
Yeah.
But Mohawk beat them by 11 last time.
Right.
And Mohawk's won 17 in a row. Only loss was the Central Catholic. I tend to agree with you, unless Aliquippa blows them out, which I don't know if I don't think they will. I'm going to go Mohawk number 1. Agree?
I agree with that.
2A, 2A and 1A, is there any doubt? Well, there's no doubt 2A Sewickley Academy.
There's doubt. Sewickley Academy is going to end up being the number 1 in 2A. I mean, I would say that, but don't discount that. Don't discount Jeanette.
I agree.
I mean, Jeanette's a really good team, and I think they're only losses to a team from out of state too. So,
they beat Sewickley last year. Yeah.
Yes, by 20.
Yes.
People forget.
But this is the new year. This isn't last
20.
This isn't last year, though.
But I think Jeanette's better than they were last year.
I will agree.
So
I think the committee will go.
They will go.
I probably would. Single A, I think it's no brainer. Neighborhood Academy, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. They're the defending champions, and they're starting to come on a little bit too. They're playing a little bit better than they did earlier in the season. So this is going to be, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, they're the number 1.
So we seem to agree on a lot of things, and we're going to do this again next week, though.
Yes.
Before the WPIAL comes out with their seedings, we're going to do it on Sunday.
We're going to do this on Sunday, and then we'll do an extra show on Monday with the when the brackets are announced.
That's
with a couple of guests.
That's right. All right. Let's go to the next segment, right?
Let's talk about our shining stars. Players that have really kind of caught our eye this week. Mike, who caught your eye?
I'm going to go with Grant Spacciapolli from Pine-Richland. Here comes Pine-Richland. They've won 4 section games in a row. Friday night, they played undefeated Newcastle at home, big crowd. At halftime, Newcastle leads 26-17. No problem for Pine, because why? They got a grant in aid. You see that, a grant in aid.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. Grant Spacciapolli goes off. He needed a heat check in the second half, scored 20 second half points, 25 for the game, 6 3-pointers in the second half, 4 in the third quarter when Pine-Richland turned it on and took the lead. And he also hit the game winner late, a 3-pointer. Now, Pine, as I said, has won 4 section games in a row, and they very easily, they got 3 games this week, could finish second in that section. After starting the year, they lost some close games. In the last 3 games, Spacciapolli, I think, has been one of the main reasons they have really come on. He came into the year, I think, with some pretty good expectations. Really can shoot the ball. Really can shoot it. Really good on offense. But it didn't shoot it real well, probably for the first half of the season. But now he is shooting it. In the last 3 games, Keith, he's averaging 20 points a game. And one of the main reasons those Rams have become Ram tough and are really a team to watch depending on what they do this last week of the season and in the playoffs. So my shining star, Grant Spacciapolli.
My shining star, Amon Hawthorne from Penn Hills. You know, we talked about him last week and what he's been able to do over the last few games. Early in the season, he was kind of still feeling his way a little bit, trying to figure out, you know, where he fit in that Penn Hills offensive scheme. But offensively and defensively, he's really come on in the last few weeks. I got to see him against Shaler last Wednesday, put up 32 against Shaler, and it was quiet 32. Like he wasn't just sitting there just banging threes all day long. It was just he was great at the line. He was great inside. He did hit a couple from the outside, but he was just really, really good. And he had 22 against Plum also on Friday night. He's just one of those players. You talked about maybe even being a potential Fab Five guy this year. And he kind of impressed me just by the way he was able to play just at such a high level and did it quietly. But he did have a couple of nice dunks too, I will say that. But yeah, he's definitely a player to watch.
You said forward. Where he was trying to figure out where he fit in that offense. He was all section last year.
But
he was very good. But at the beginning
I saw at the beginning of the year against Central Catholic, and it's just
wasn't shooting the ball well. Wasn't shooting the ball well. Neither was that team. And I think they changed their style a little bit. I think they were pressing all the time, and they're not doing that as much. And I think they're playing fewer kids. And he has really flourished, I think, in the last month or two. And I really believe, I'm not saying he is, but I think he's a candidate for the Fab Five.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say this, and this isn't a knock, but there are a lot of players who are candidates this year for the Fab Five. It is not a great year for talent, individual talent in Western PA. Of course, we have some good players, but we have a lot of players who are good, but we don't have a lot of players that really stick out. I think once you probably get past a couple of them, there's a lot of players. And I think he's one of them. That's a candidate. And a lot, maybe more than any other year this year, that Fab Five, we wait until after the season. A lot will depend on, hey, what do you do for your team in the playoffs?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not only just the boys, the girls, you could say the same thing.
Same way,
but not a lot of great. I mean, you're not having a Natalie Wetzel this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how both Fab Fives kind of play out because of the fact that there isn't that one great or two or three great players this year.
All right. Next segment. What are we doing?
Predictions, and neither of us did really, really well last week.
What is going on? I'm like embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, that's embarrassing for both of us. But you know what? We pick the best games. It's not like we're picking the tomato cans every week. We're picking the games of the week.
What were you, 2-5?
Something like that.
And I was 3-4.
4.
And you have a 1-game lead on me now. I think at
I'm 18, 17, you're 17 and 18. So
yeah, something like that. Oh boy, it's embarrassing. What do I know? I don't know anything anymore. All right, let's go. Let's start picking games. Let's say the first one. North Catholic-Knoch. You were at the first one. Who wins the second one?
I'm going to be the second one, too. And the one thing that I saw from that game was just how good Knoch's defense was. And they held North Catholic 56 points, which was at the time the second lowest point total they had all year. The other thing about that game that maybe got drowned out a little bit with Knoch winning was the fact that Jude Rodman and Jason Fredericks were both in foul trouble and missed most of the second quarter. Now, Fredericks came on in the second half a little bit and really helped North Catholic come back in that game. But Rodman never really got on track in that game. If they can avoid foul trouble, and the other thing that was really prevalent in that game, the officials let them play. Knoch is a much more physical team. They're much more physically imposing than North Catholic is.
They're big.
They are big. And that was the one thing that Coach Rocco said after that game was the fact that they were more physically imposing and they imposed their will. If the officials let them play, Knoch has an advantage. If the officials call every single physical contact, it's going to go towards North Catholic. And that's going to have a huge impact on this game. I like what North Catholic was able to do to keep that game close because they could have been blown out, considering the fact that they were missing their 2 top guards and 2 of the best 3-point shooters around. This time around, it's at North Catholic. I like North Catholic to win this game.
No, this time around it's at Knoch.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. It is at Knoch. My mistake.
If you go to North Catholic, you're not going to see a game.
I'm driving to Saxonburg. My fault. But yeah, it is at Knoch, but it's going to depend. It's still going to depend on the officiating. It really is. It's going to depend on how tight they call this game.
Well, I think Knoch controlled pace the last time, and that was key because North Catholic likes to get up and down with it. And even though Knoch, I thought they were mainly, they have some good sides. They have the Lion kid's a thin kid, but they have some other beefy kids on the inside.
Yeah.
I saw them against Obama, and here's what I think is the reason they're going to win this game again. I was impressed with their guards, Tegan Finnegan. I think their guards are underrated. And I think they win that game because North Catholic's a team that's predicated on what guard play does. But I like Knox guards. They're better than I thought, and I think that's why they win this game. They get the number 1 seed in 4A. All right, next game. Mohawk and Aliquippa, Tuesday night also. I'll go first in this one. Mohawks won 17 in a row. They've won the first one 59-48. This one's going to be close. But Bobby Fadden, Rona, and who's the other kid they have? Nail. They're going to nail a win again against Aliquippa.
I agree with you. I think you and I touched on a little bit about how tough of a schedule Aliquippa's played. They played Mohawk. They played Chartiers Valley. But I like where Mohawk is. I think they're on a run right now. 17 in a row is going into the playoffs. You almost want a loss going into the playoffs just because you don't want to be on that big streak because, the streak has a tendency to overshadow everything you're doing.
I don't know.
But I think Mohawk's got enough to win this game.
All right, we're both going Mohawk on that one. Next game is down in Single A. That's where section title. But even if Mohawk loses, they'll likely tie Aliquippa for the section title. And same with Knoch North Catholic. This one should be for the section title outright. Aquinas Academy at Avella. Who do you like? Who'd have thought we have Avella in one of our big games?
I know, really scary. Aquinas won the first game, and Sam Dewar had 18 that first game they played. I like Aquinas. I mean, the one thing about them is they always seem to play really good defense, and defense travels. And they're going to be playing this one at Avella. It's a long trip down for them, but I think they're going to come out and win this one.
All right. Aquinas has won a section before, I think last year. They've won before. And Class A, let's face it, with only, I think, 12 teams, this is not very strong. Avella, they've won 3 section championships in their school history, Keith. 2011, 15 years ago. The other 2 were 1970 and 1942. So
wow.
They might win only their second section in what?
It's World War II.
6 years or 50 to 55 years. So, you know what? I'm going different than you. I say the Eagles soar. I don't feel real good about this pick, but I'm going to say Avella wins and they win a section title for only the second time since the 70s. All right?
Works for me.
All right. Next game, Big City League game. Obama at Alderdice Friday night. Really, both these teams, they're going to meet the city championship again.
Yeah.
Alderdice won the first game 53-35. Do they win the second game?
I think they do. I think Alderdice just have it this year. They're just one of those teams that they just seem to have it. They play really well together. They just look really good. I've seen them a couple times this year, and they're just a good team. They're well coached, obviously, and I just don't see them losing this game.
They really blew out Obama the first game, 53-35. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go with Alderdice again, too. Obama, with the addition of Eric James, is better. They gave Swickley Academy a game for a while the other night, but I'll go with Alderdice, too. All right, let's move on to Friday's games. In the craziest section of the WPIAL, Section 1 of 6A, there's Newcastle is 10-1. There are 3 teams that are 6-6. And then there is a team that's 6-5. And then there's a team that's 4, that's 5. No, there's one team 6-5, 3 teams 6-6, another team 6-5. And then you got Butler and North Allegheny. And Butler's still not out of it either if they would get some wins. So this is crazy. And I'm in this thing. And this is a big game. Seneca Valley at Pine-Richland Friday. Seneca's coming on. Pine-Richland's coming on. Who do you like?
I like Pine-Richland. I think they're going to ride the wave after beating Newcastle last week. And you were right. They've won 4 in a row in section, which is in this section is an amazing feat this year, considering how this section has gone. I agree with you with what Pine-Richland's been doing, beating Newcastle. I think they're going to ride that. They're going to ride that wave. I think they're going to beat Seneca Valley, especially considering this game is at home.
Seneca Valley at times has trouble scoring the ball. Pine-Richland is really coming on offensively. I think they're really shooting the ball well. They have 3 or 4 kids who can knock down threes. I think that's going to be the difference in the game is their shooting. Pine-Richland wins. All right, next game Friday, the rivalry game. Now, Mount Lebanon's like 3rd place in the section, but when they play Upper St. Clair, it's always a big game. It was 43-36 the first time. I'll go first on this one. I think the key is, Upper St. Clair's defenses. I watched that game the last time. Really good Upper St. Clair defense. They took away a lot of the 3-point shooting from Mount Lebanon. I think the key to the game, does Mount Lebanon get open threes for Liam Shealy, Carter Gold, and do they make them? They have to get a lot of them, number one, and they have to make them. I don't think they'll do that enough. I'm going to go Upper St. Clair, even though it's at Mount Lebanon.
Yeah, Liam Shealy last time had 14 points, which is, for a guy who's scoring 23, 24 a game, that's an off night for him. Now, does he have a few more this time around? Yes. Does he have enough? No. I'm going Upper St. Clair as well.
All right, next one. How about this game? Derry at Elizabeth Forward. They're both right now going into Tuesday, 8-2 in section. Bell Vernon's 1 game back at 8-3. So this very likely could determine the outright section champion. Now get this. Derry has won 2 section titles in their history. 1957 and 1937. Elizabeth Forward, they've won 1 section championship, 2006, and they've only won 6 playoff games. So I love this game. Somebody's going to win a section, and they should go crazy. Go crazy, Derry. Go crazy, Elizabeth Forward. I'm going to take Derry on the road. And you know what, Keith? I'm going to say this. This is an example, and so is Avella and Aquinas. This is an example. A lot of people criticize what 6 classifications has done, and it has watered things down, no doubt. And I don't at times like it a lot either. But what it has done is give teams like Derry and Elizabeth Forward. You see this happen more and more, teams that haven't done well for a long time and suddenly have a chance to win a section championship. And if it was the old way in 4 classes, they would, because there'd be teams that are bigger than them in their class, and their chances would be much slimmer. So 6 classes does present stories like this for Derry and Elizabeth Forward, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's good to see some teams have some success that haven't had it in a long time.
I agree with you on that. I mean, that was supposed to be what happened when you went to 6 classes. You were going to have opportunities for teams like Derry and Elizabeth Forward to succeed. Now, when you look at it with football, the problem is you have the haves and have-nots, and that's been a problem as well. But this is fun. This is fun when you get 2 teams that have 4 section titles between them, or 3 section titles in their entire histories. This is great. This is fun. I'm going to be at this game Friday night, and I'm going to go with Elizabeth Forward just because you're going with Derry.
Okay.
I want there'll be a rooting interest for both of us as far as who wins as far as that goes. But realistically, when you got Tyler Basic, I think he's going to have a pretty good game. That's why I'm going with Elizabeth Forward at home this time around. Although it would not shock me if Derry won.
No, wouldn't. It would. I think it's a great little story, though. All right, next game, big one. Jeanette, 15-1 against Clairton, 14-1. Well, they met earlier in the year. Jeanette won, and they will win again. The Jayhawks are that good.
I agree with you. I saw that game the first time around, and Jeanette coach Adrian Bass said it best to me. He says, "We're basketball players; they're athletes," and Jeanette is a really good basketball team. Clairton has some great athletes who play basketball, and they play basketball well. Do not get me wrong, but Jeanette is a well-coached team. They have Marcus McGowan, and I think that they're going to have a really good game at Clairton, and I just think that's where they're going to win right there.
All right, last one. This one's Saturday, right? South Allegheny and Seton South.
I'll be there too.
Was postponed. It was postponed this past Friday. I took South Allegheny last week. I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to stick with South Allegheny winning this one.
I took St. LaSalle, and I'm going to stick with them too. And the same reason. The one difference between St. LaSalle now and St. LaSalle the first time they played when they beat South Allegheny, they're not giving up the late leads. They're able to hold on to those late leads. And South Allegheny, I don't think is going to be able to have that push to even make it close. I think St. LaSalle wins this game, despite the fact that South Allegheny does have the leading scorer in the WPIAL.
All right. No, last week Josh Pratt overtook him by a little bit. So I don't know what it is right now, but Josh Pratt. It might be again Drew Cook, because Josh Pratt was held down against Chartiers Valley. All right. Yeah. Last segment of our Post-Gazette Fantasy League. We pick one girl, one boy on points of what they do in their game either Thursday or Friday. And last week, I had the problem the week before. You're willing to take a loss, so go ahead, take it. But your girl Bailey Malderdice didn't play.
No, she didn't.
So you didn't get any points from her.
I didn't.
And I took the Dewars brother and sister act from Aquinas Academy. They didn't have great games. They had okay games. I think 17 and 15, something like that. So I was willing to say no contest.
No, I'll take the loss. Right. If I was willing to take the win, I'll take the loss.
Way to sit on the sword. All right. Here we go then. Who do we like for this week? We pick one girl.
You can go first.
We're going girls first?
You can go girls or boys. You have the pick.
I'll go girls first. I'm picking a girl who is money. She's just money because her name is Cashdollar. Alexis Cashdollar from Mars, averaging around 20 a game. I'm going with her because I like cash. I like dollars. So I'm going with her.
I'm going with somebody we talked about earlier when we were talking about the top teams in Class 4A. I'm going with Aubrey Hupp of Blackhawk. And
we haven't picked her yet?
Huh? No, we haven't.
Wow.
No. Yep. We have not picked Aubrey Hupp. I'm going with Aubrey Hupp of Blackhawk. They're playing at Latrobe in a non-section game this week.
All right, let's go to boys. You go first.
I'm going to take Kenrod Gilmore of Neighborhood Academy. They're playing against St. Joseph's, and last time they played St. Joe's, he dropped 30 on them. So I'm hoping for a repeat.
He was on my list. I think it's Keydron.
Is it Keydron?
Yeah, Keydron. He was on my list maybe to take, but there was one guy ahead of him I had, so I'll take him. Drew Allen of Bishop Canavan averages around 20 a game. They're quietly having a pretty decent season. Tim Tyree, Tim Tyree, first-year coach here, has done a pretty good job. They may win the section. And Allen puts a wrench in a lot of defenses. You see what I did there?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I'm going to take Drew Allen. So that's our show, right?
That's our show. We'd like to thank all of our viewers again. Thanks to the Post-Gazette for allowing us to do this every week. Please follow us on Spotify or on Apple. You can download us also on our YouTube channel. And for the esteemed Mike White,
tell them extra show Sunday.
Yeah. We will have a show on Sunday where we preview the WP, where we do our bracketology, where we'll try to pick what the WPIAL will do as far as where they're going to seat everybody and how the brackets are going to turn out. And on Monday next week, after the brackets are announced, we are going to have two special guests. It's going to be myself and Mike, as well as Steve Rothstein and Brad Everett of the Post-Gazette. We're going to do a foursome, and we're going to break down the brackets for you. So make sure you watch what we are going to do next week. It's going to be two amazing shows. Right?
Yeah, without a doubt. See ya.
See ya. For Mike White, I'm Post-Gazette High School Sports Editor Keith Barnes. You have a great day and a great week. Good luck to you.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.